The call came 5 days after I resigned. Private number, middle of the afternoon. I knew it was them before I answered. The lawyer's voice was polished, careful, the kind of voice trained to sound harmless while counting your bones. "We need clarification," he said, "regarding your resignation letter." I looked out the window of my empty office. My office. Still smelled like dust and toner and 13 years of loyalty. "Which part confused you?" I asked. A pause. Paper shuffling. A breath held too long. "The sentence," he said, "effective upon full settlement. What exactly did you mean by that?" I smiled without moving my face. Across the glass wall, I could see the CFO through a reflection. He had come with the lawyer, had insisted probably. His hands were folded too tightly, his jaw locked. They already knew something was wrong. I let the silence stretch. In my head, the memory replayed. My wife's sister standing behind her desk, CEO title gleaming on the wall, telling me I could resign quietly or be terminated publicly. Family, she had said, as if that word still meant anything. I inhaled, slow, controlled. "I meant," I said, "exactly what it says." The CFO went pale before I finished the sentence. 13 years earlier, they welcomed me like blood, married into the company, married into the family. I built systems, fixed leaks, took late-night calls, covered mistakes that weren't mine. I told myself that was love, or loyalty, or survival. The betrayal didn't arrive as an explosion. It leaked in. A meeting I wasn't invited to. A budget approval rerouted. My access quietly reduced. Then the looks. My wife stopped asking about my day. Her sister stopped meeting my eyes. The CFO started documenting conversations that never needed notes. I felt it before I understood it. That pressure behind the sternum. The sense that I was already gone and no one had bothered to tell me. The threat came last. "Resign," the CEO said, folding her hands, "or we terminate you for cause." For cause. A phrase with no evidence yet, just intention. I looked at my wife's sister and saw nothing familiar left. Only calculation. Only fear that I knew too much. At home, my wife didn't ask how the meeting went. She already knew. That was when the betrayal sharpened. Not professional, personal. I lay awake beside her, listening to her breathe, realizing I was the only one still pretending we were on the same side. I didn't confront anyone. That would have been emotional, sloppy. Instead, I watched. I reviewed old emails. Not the obvious ones, the archived threads no one thought to delete. I noticed patterns, names repeating, dates aligning too cleanly. I pulled financial records I had designed myself, quiet discrepancies, funds rerouted through shell vendors I recognized because I'd approved them years ago. At home, I observed my wife like a stranger. Her phone never left her hand. Passwords changed. A new stillness when I entered rooms. I tested nothing directly. I let them relax. I ordered a forensic copy of my work laptop before IT could wipe it. Perfectly legal. Still mine. Still under my credentials. At night, my mind ran simulations. If I was wrong, I'd leave quietly. If I was right, they were finished. I kept smiling, kept showing up, kept playing the role of the loyal brother-in-law being slowly pushed out. They mistook my calm for ignorance. That was their final mistake. The confirmation arrived in a compressed file. Emails, contracts, a side agreement bearing my wife's signature as a consultant. She had been paid, for years, to keep me in place, to keep me blind. I printed nothing. I memorized everything. That night, I placed my resignation letter on the kitchen table. One sentence, typed by me. No lawyer, no emotion. Effective upon full settlement. My wife read it twice. "What does that mean?" she asked. I met her eyes. Calm, empty. "It means I'm done," I said. She started crying. Too late, too practiced. I slept in the guest room, alone, clear. Back on the call, the lawyer waited. The CFO stared at the table like it might collapse. I spoke evenly. "Full settlement," I said, "means repayment of withheld compensation, profit shares I can document, and damages related to coercive termination threats." Silence.
It also means, I continued, that upon settlement, I waive disclosure. The CFO's breath hitched. Disclosure of what? The lawyer asked. I listed them. Shell vendors, fraudulent consulting fees, executive collusion, and my wife's name. The CFO stood up too fast. You can't, he started. I already resigned, I said. You threatened me into it, in writing. The line went dead for a second. Then came the sound of whispered panic.
I felt nothing. No triumph. Just equilibrium restored. They had pushed me out to protect themselves. I had stepped away with the knife still in my hand. I moved out a week later. No arguments, no explanations. The company settled quietly, very quickly. My wife tried to call. I didn't answer. I wasn't angry anymore. Anger would have meant I still cared. What I felt was clean, cold, precise. They lost control the moment they assumed I had none. I didn't win anything back. I reclaimed myself, and that was enough.